Hello everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name's Kevin, I'm with the Alaska Airmen Next Gen program. I'm here with Junior of Danchini. We're live at Danchini for another Raffle plane update for you. A couple of quick announcements before we get into it. As you can see behind me, there have been a lot of changes since the last time we came to you with an update, so we're excited to share all of those with you today. We are going to take questions, of course, so be sure to put your questions in the chat on whichever platform you're following us on today. Also, we are going to have some trivia questions about some of the specs on the airplane later. So you're going to want to stay through the entire live stream. I promise it won't be too long, but it's definitely a nice break for your day today. So join us for 10 or 15 minutes here. Check out this beautiful airplane. Lots of developments. Junior, you want to tell us what's happened since the last time we update?
Yeah, since the last update, we have we've finished covering the fuselage. We've put the paint on it. The interior panels have all gone back in. We bolted the engine back on it. The cowling is completed, short of putting paint on it. We threw some gear legs on it. We have these gear legs up here. These aren't the ones that are going to go with it. These ones are swept forward. The ones that we're getting from Acme Aero Fab should be here next week, and they'll be 3-inch extended by 0. These ones are 3-inch extended and swept forward 3 inches. The reason why we don't really want to use those is we're building the aircraft for use in Alaska, and we want to get as much weight off the tail as possible. So the further that gear leg is swept forward, the more weight that you have in the tail. That takes you longer to get rid of your induced drag, get the tail up off the ground. So we're going to do a 3x0 gear leg setup on it. Let's see. We have the engine installed. We have the, like I said, we have the cowling built for it. Next step is going to build a couple trim panels for an interior, and then we'll start wiring the avionics into it. And avionics-wise, we have, let me look at the wall over there. We have a 660 that's going to go in it, a Garmin G5 that's going to go in it, a GDL50, a GMU11. We have the RTEX ELT that's already installed in it, and then we're working at getting an engine monitor for it and a Garmin transponder for it. But once we have all that together, it'll start going in. Kind of projecting within the next month we'll be completed with it. All the control surfaces are painted, tail feathers are on, rigged. The entire tail section is completed, short of that nav light in the tail, which Waylon put in the mail today a set of Orions for us. So we'll have Orion nav lights for it, or position lights. And then we have rigid landing lights that are going on it. They'll be mounted at the gear legs. So we'll have 2 rigid landing lights, and those are going to be
stack of parts.
Yep, SRQ Pros. So this was completely full about a month ago, and we're slowly making it all disappear, and it's going on the aircraft.
You've been busy adding a lot.
Yeah,
I see that. And the gear is on. Of course, we've got 35-inch bush wheels here. Tell us a little bit about the Acme Aero gear. And
the Acme Aero gear is kind of cool. They have these spindles on here that, say you go. A common thing that happens is people upgrade their gear legs, and they'll go with 1.5-inch spindles or 1.5-inch axles, and then they'll have skis that are set up for 1.25 inch. So with these gear legs, you can take that spindle off, and you can have an 1.25 inch spindle and an 1.5-inch spindle. So say you have tires, 35-inch tires, and you run 1.5-inch bearings in it, you just put a different spindle on it, or vice versa. They're kind of cool. They have it set up here so you can run your brake lines down the center of it. They got quite a bit more structure welded into the gear legs. The steps are really nice as well. But I think they're sending us a set of gear legs without this rear step. And the only problem we have with this rear step is the belly pod the door is going to be right here. So it ends up interfering with the door.
I see, so it's going to interfere.
Yep.
But that's no problem because you've got 2 additional big storage compartment doors built into the sides. And you can kind of see more with the covering on now, the sizes of those. How are those going to function?
All right, so this one's going to hinge right here along the bottom. It'll hinge downward, and this one will hinge right along the aft section of the door. So we got one right there, got one right there, I believe we have another one right here, and then 2 right here and 1 right there. So those are South Coast quarter turns. Anyways, you unhook it, that thing will fold back, and that'll access the whole baggage compartment. And those are, I believe, sitting on a shelf somewhere. They're around here somewhere.
Nice. That sounds thoughtful too, because that way the door is out of your way for loading. You're not fighting it. It's not falling down on you or otherwise in your way.
Or in the event that you put it on floats, the door's not going to be hitting the struts.
That's a great point as well. I see some Carbon Concepts carbon interior in here, some pieces, and a sport aircraft seat. It's coming together nice in here.
Thank you.
Behringer brakes. Lots of goodies. Lots of goodies.
Yeah, it won't take too much time to hook the brakes up. Once we have once the gear legs get here, which we, like I said, they'll be here in the next week or so. But once we have the gear legs on it, then we can run the brake lines up. Randy is making us a seat back right now for the rear seat, and that's all going to hinge right here. That'll all hinge along this seam. The tube is underneath of this seam, and these all go into nut plates here. So this will hinge up. After that will be the seat back, and that'll hinge down. And when you take the seats out of it and you fold it down, it'll be completely flush to the bottom of the floorboard. That way you can actually load heavy things on top of it without breaking your seat back.
Fantastic.
And we have it set up so, we will have it set up so it has quick release pins in it, so you can take the seat back out pretty quick.
Okay. Excellent. Any questions so far, be sure and add those into the chat on the platform that you're watching us on today. We'll get those. We're going to enter everybody that asks a question into a drawing for a free raffle ticket, as well as a free raffle ticket for those trivia questions that are going to come up here in a couple of minutes. So stay tuned for that stuff. One of the new developments I see on here since last time, kind of a big development, I know, is there is a nice big motor on the front of this plane. Tell us about that.
There is. So the motor, Aero Reset built us the engine. It's going to have 9-to-1 pistons in it. It has a slick impulse mag on the left side. It has a P mag on the right side. A 4-5 carburetor, Rupert exhaust. We have Rupert baffling on it. We also have a Rupert lower cowling, which is, give me a second, I'll be right back. So we also have a Rupert lower cowling that fits on it. Really cool thing about this, there'll end up being a 4-inch piece of scat tube that goes right here and ties into the stinger that goes off the front. So when you put this cowling on, that stinger, do you know where that stinger is? It's up top. To the left. Got it. So I'll have a piece of scat tube that connects this stinger to that right there. So when you get ready to take the lower cowling off, instead of having to fight that little flap that goes back here, you see there's nut plates in there. There's 3 screws that will hold the stinger into the front of the cowling. I'll hold it into it like so, and it makes it really easy to remove the lower cowling. There's really nothing to it. You take those 3 screws off, and you unhook the South Coast fasteners, and the lower cowling comes right off.
That's a really nice feature because you mentioned that flap, and and I have a Cub, and that flap is a royal pain
Yep.
to deal with whenever you're taking the lower cowling off. So
And it
really,
makes
really
it-
nice feature.
Makes it easier to get the lower cowling around the exhaust pipe as well. But all this stuff is Rupert. The baffling, the exhaust, the airbox, and the lower cowling.
Excellent.
And it's a good direct replacement for Cubs.
So which motor is this exactly? What do we have for size and horsepower?
So this is going to be a 0360, and I think it's a C4P, C2E. So it's 0360 C2E. It's a superior engine, has a prime crank in it, has 9-to-1 pistons. I believe we had them put an experimental cam in it, which has larger lobes on them. I can't tell you the horsepower rating because that's going to be
That's classified?
that's something that's going to come up here soon.
Excellent, excellent.
But the output was very good. What is not on it right now is Cato propellers put in the mail this morning. I just got the tracking number this morning. We're getting the hub on the way, so it won't be a fixed pitch prop. It'll be a ground adjustable Cato prop, an 86-inch ground adjustable Cato prop. And for the application, I think it's going to be great.
Sounds like a lot of versatility.
Yep.
I know we have some questions, a couple of the questions coming in about the float fittings.
Uh-huh.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the float fittings, we use the airframe float fittings. We just order them from airframes. We have them. We order the float fittings from airframes. We have them welded on. Airframes and Alley Dodge is ultimately the same thing. The reason why we use the float fittings that we use is that the fuselage will accept belly pods a lot better with the ones that we use. The ones that are, I don't have any laying around here, but the ones that are kind of straight up and down and doesn't have the blade coming off the bottom, you end up having to cut into the belly pod a lot to make it work, and it gets into the structure of the door. So that is something that we changed when we were altering the fuselage. And like I said, this was a brand new fuselage that we had ordered. It showed up here with no powder coating on it, and we altered quite a few things on it to make it what it is now.
And this is a traditional two-seat fuselage, correct?
Correct. Traditional two-seat, it is a three-seater though.
It is a three-seater, STC. Excellent.
Oh, there's no STC.
No
It's
STC.
It's an experimental,
Gotcha.
but it'll be registered as a pilot and 2 passengers.
Fantastic.
The second passenger goes right here, and there's holes in the floor right here where we'll have some seatbelt mounts that go through it. They're tied straight in the structure down there at this cluster.
So capacity for a third person, cargo pod, some nice convenient cargo loading doors. What kind of useful load are you looking at for this?
Useful load's going to be about 1,000. It'll probably be a little bit more than 1,000. It depends. We're going to put the gross weight at 2,200 pounds on this one, and reason why we're going to do that is because it was engineered to be 2,200 pounds to include the engineering of the wings. So we'll set the gross weight 2,200 pounds. In regards to what the empty weight is, we'll know that in about a month. I'm pretty confident it's going to be less than 1,200 pounds.
Nice. A lot of power up front, which we're going to hold back on numbers on for now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that Cato prop? Is that going to be a 2-blade or a 3-blade, or is that a...
So the Cato prop is going to be a 2-blade ground adjustable 86-inch prop. And that really helps us out. The first experimental plane that I built for myself, we ended up, I think we went through maybe like 8 props, because we have an experimental plane with an experimental engine, and it's kind of a high output engine, and we didn't know what blade to work with, and we ended up, it was a 340 is the engine we used on that one, and I didn't know whether it was going to produce enough power to spin a blade that would go on a 360, so we ended up putting 3/8 bushings in it all the 320 blades that we had, it oversped all of them. So then we end up getting blades that are meant for a 0320, but we're trying to apply them to an 03, a 0340. And after going through 8 different props, we ended up with the 8636 was the best application for what we had. This takes care of all of that. So we're going to have one prop that we can adjust the pitch on to come up with the correct operation of it. I imagine 8636 is going to be too flat for this one, and it'll probably end up cavitating. But we can adjust that. We don't have to go with the 8637 and say that this is going to be the one that does it. We can start there, and then we can move it up and move it back and figure out exactly where our best takeoff performance and best cruise fuel burn is going to be.
Sure. One of the beauties of all of the different aspects of it. Kind of continuing on the trend of talking about the power, I'm looking here at this big beefy exhaust. That's a pretty good sized pipe. Is that going to be the exhaust? What exhaust is going to be put on this airplane?
It's a Rupert exhaust. That's the one we're going to use. The reason why we're using that, quite a few years back, I was putting a plane together and I was trying to put a Sutton exhaust on it because I wanted to push all the weight as far forward as I could and open up the back of the engine. And I couldn't make the Sutton exhaust fit. It was on ours. It was the 340 that we have. I had a 360 sump on it with a 4-5 carburetor and the big intake pipes, and the Sutton exhaust just wouldn't fit. And I ended up getting a hold of Logan Rupert and told him what my problem was, and a week later exhaust showed up at my house, and he told me to try it on if it worked and send him a check. So I did. It worked perfect, and the heat that comes out of it is amazing. It'll melt your boots, kind of heat that comes out of it. It does quite well. But pretty much every plane that we build, we put that stuff on it.
Now we're seeing kind of the back area here, some more Carbon Concepts goodies there. Nice storage pockets for the front, which are super convenient. We're seeing the backside of some of the fabric work, and obviously the beautiful paint that's on this, which wasn't there the last time we visited. So could you talk a little bit about the finishing process, the products, and the system that you use for that?
So we use Stewart Systems for all the fabric covering that we do in here. So one of our guys, John Salgett, is the one that covered this fuselage in fabric, and then after he gets finished, it all gets ironed out. Then Cody kind of takes over. Cody puts the EcoFill on it. It gets 3 cross coats of EcoFill. We also put EcoFill inside the fuselage, so you can see wherever it's going to be exposed to light, we put EcoFill in there, and it gives it a nice finished look. Once the EcoFill is done, then we'll put the light color on. So the fuselage got painted this color to start with. If we shoot it black and then try to put a light color on top of it, we're going to have a problem with saturation. The black is just going to saturate right through whatever the light color is. So even though you've reached the recommended, or the manufacturer's recommended amount, you're still going to have saturation through it. So it all gets painted this color, and then we mask it all out and paint the dark color on it.
And I see an ELT already installed back in there. What kind of ELT do we go with?
That's an Artex.
Artex?
Yep. It's a 406, I believe. And it's light, it's small, it fits back there.
Nice, nice. So let us know, everybody that's watching, what do you think of this paint scheme, these colors? I'm sure you have a little bit more to do when we get some numbers on here.
Yeah, so our numbers are going to end up being about right here. And it'll be, I believe if I'm right, you're going to have November 796, and then Alpha Kilo is going to be a different color. So we'll have 796 and a gray, and then a darker gray is going to be the Alpha Kilo. It kind of makes the Alaska stand out.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that little bit different look to what you see out there. which is nice to see too. Yeah. Let's see. Questions? Yeah. Let's talk about some questions.
We've got a couple people asking about how many man hours do you think you'll have into the project when it's done?
On average, we do about 800 hours.
But a little extra for ours, right?
Well, see, it's on average 800 hours to do a build. It depends on how much the owner's involved in the build. Being that I have control over this, I can make all the decisions on this. The hours are probably going to end up being a lot less on it. We're probably going to knock 100 hours off of it just by me being able to make all the decisions on it.
You tell us we're special.
Y'all are special. This is like 1,000 hours.
Another good question, why one slick mag and one PMag?
Initially, I wanted 2 impulse mags on it, 2 slick impulse mags. I'm kind of leery of having an electronic ignition system or complete electronic ignition system on a airplane. Not only due to the failure in flight, but due to if you kill your battery on a glacier somewhere, you can't hand prop it. You have no electrical system to hand prop it, and there's a way that you can wire in a 9-volt battery and hook that up to it, but I can't even keep AA batteries from my headset in the plane, much less have a 9-volt battery floating around. So that's the reason we have just a regular slick mag. It's like clanking rocks together. It works.
Makes sense. A couple other quick questions. Is the belly pod included with the airplane in the Raffle?
It sure is.
Fantastic. And then what kind of range does an aircraft like this have with full load?
Full load? Oh, we get about 5 hours out of them. I've stretched it to 6 before, but it's uncomfortable.
Let's definitely be safe when it comes to that. Great questions. Let's go to a trivia question now and give away some raffle tickets so that maybe one of you can win this beautiful machine. Kiva, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so our trivia question has to do with the engine. We had Aero Reset dynoed the engine for us, and the question is, what horsepower did the test come back with? So,
No, we haven't talked about the horsepower, engine horsepower yet.
It's out there.
It is out there.
It is out there,
It is.
however.
So
Yes.
This is for loyal
So-
viewers.
So everybody that's been paying close attention, following the build along, maybe dig that up if you haven't already seen it, and put that in the comments. We have not mentioned it today, but it is out there.
Got a
So
guess of 194.4.
That may be it.
that's a very specific guess.
So it looks like we've got some good guesses. We'll follow up with the winner on that.
Excellent. Right on. Let's do another one now. Let's turn to Reagan here real quick with the airman staff. Yeah, take one.
Thank you. Yeah, so our second trivia question has to do with scholarships. Our scholarship applications are open now, and there are a ton of different categories to choose from. So our second question is, when is the scholarship application deadline? Does anybody know? It's listed in quite a few different places.
See what we get there. That's coming
Yeah.
up. So if you or somebody that you know is interested in aviation, any number of different aspects of aviation, maybe looking at some training, definitely encourage them, make sure they participate in that program. It's a program we're very excited to offer, very proud of. It continues to grow each year, and we're looking to give away even more scholarships this year. Very excited to do that. So make sure that they get applied, get in, contact us. Call our office with any questions about scholarships. Join us at a Next Gen event. We can share with you in person about scholarships, but definitely something you don't want to sleep on.
Several correct answers of March 1st. In fact, one person even mentioned 11:59 p.m. on March 1st.
Excellent. Love the attention to
We'll
detail.
definitely be in touch with some winners there. People are paying attention.
Love the attention to detail on that. That's fantastic. So, Junior, what can we expect the next time we come together to look at this? I see some wings hanging on the wall over there.
It should be finished.
Wow, all right.
Yeah, the next time y'all come, it should be done. We might be waiting on paperwork, but for the most part, it should be ready to fly at that
We'll have
point.
a lot to talk about then, I'm sure, because
Oh, yeah.
all the details will come together and we'll be able to kind of go over the complete package. So just a reminder to everybody who is watching and tuned in, if you don't already have your ticket and you want an opportunity to win this beautiful, very capable, versatile machine, then tickets are available online, alaskaairmen.org, or give the office a call at 907-245-1251. They are $75 a piece, and because we know that you want more than one opportunity, one chance to win this beautiful airplane, you can also buy a package of 5 for $350 or a package of 10 for $600. And it only takes one to win, but the more tickets you have, the better your chances are. So don't wait. It will sell out like they have for the last several years, as many of you probably know, and we don't want you to miss that opportunity. So be sure to jump online. Now's a good time if you've got a few minutes. Jump online and make sure you grab your ticket before somebody else does. Junior, any parting thoughts?
Hey, Daniel, you want to talk about your seats? Not really? Daniel from Sports Aircraft Seats just walked
Yeah,
in.
he joined us.
He's the one that built, or that made the seats that are going inside the Raffle Cup. You're welcome, oh, thank you.
Some very popular seats for aircraft these days, and we've seen them in several other builds, and a lot of folks out there have them.
Well, I'm going to show y'all one more thing that we're doing. Just stay on that side. I'll bring it over to you.
Before we head out for the day, yeah, leave us on a teaser. Give us something cool to dream about tonight.
So what we're going to do with the root fairings, this root fairing over here, we're going to leave that one closed so that it's kind of a nice, we'll have a fuel quantity indicator up here. But on this side, so we painted, maybe walk over there after we get done with this and you can show the butt end of the wing, but we painted the inside of the wing. This will be the trim piece that goes up here, and we'll have a little block off plate that goes back here. And this makes it so you have storage up in the wing root. And we'll have a little USB hookup right here, so you can charge, say, your phone and stuff like that up in the root fairing. Then we're still gonna knock these tabs off right here, so we're not gonna put a fairing over that anymore. But I think that's kind of cool. One of the people in here came up with that idea. But yeah.
It's going to look really nice, and obviously the functionality is apparent in all aspects of this build. So really excited to see it all come together, and even more excited to maybe do some flying with you in it and see it perform.
Shoot, I'm excited to fly it.
Yeah, that'll be coming soon too. So be
Great.
sure and stay tuned to our website and our social channels for some of that footage. You're not going to want to miss it. Any questions that we didn't get to today or that you thought of later on, throw those in the comments. We'll do our best to get back to you on those quickly. We want to answer all those questions for you. Or again, reach out to us on social media or give the office a call, 907-245-1251. Junior, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the update. Really looking forward to seeing a completed airplane.
Absolutely.
It's really coming together nice. So everybody have a wonderful day. Go enjoy the sun. Hope you're flying today. We'll see you next time.